ready to get serious about building content sites and building a profitable business online? Welcome to the Niche Website Builders Podcast. We bring you the latest field-tested tips, tricks, and strategies for building a profitable online asset. We interview industry experts, share customer success stories, and reveal our own experiences working on hundreds of sites to inspire and motivate you to make something happen. Let's do this.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Niche Website Builder podcast and YouTube channel. This week I've got a great guest, Carl Broadbent. If you've been in the affiliate marketing space for any time at all, you would have heard of Carl. He runs a great YouTube channel where he's literally an open book. He shares everything from what he's been up to his income reports, both good and bad. In his podcast, we talk mainly in depth about his mega site project, which is basically a website that he's got aspirations of creating 4 million words over the next 4 years. He's already at 500,000 words, and we get into the topics and get into the weeds about planning. So how he planned the site, execution, how he structured his team, how he's actually managing things, and then expectations, where he thinks the site will go over the next few years and what he's hoping to do at the end. So this is a great episode. I hope you learn lots from it. Let's get into it.
This episode is brought to you by Niche Website Builders, an agency dedicated to helping people just like you build profitable content sites. Niche Website Builders are the hands-off content site marketing agency you always wished existed. It's run by content site marketers for content site marketers, and they help both investors and individuals alike build profitable online properties. They provide a fully outsourced approach to content creation, link building, and done-for-you website builds, the same approach they use on their own six-figure portfolios. For example, their content packages come with a proprietary keyword research process, are written by in-house native English speakers, formatted using templates proven to convert, and uploaded to WordPress with affiliate links added so that all you need to do is hit the publish button. Check them out at nichewebsite.builders/show. That's nichewebsite.builders/show and fill out the form to get coupon codes for 10% more content or a 10% discount on links with your first order sent right to your inbox.
Hey Carl, thanks for joining me today. How's things?
Hi Adam, yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
No, you're welcome. So exciting times for you. I know you've just released your income report on your YouTube channel, and it's the highest affiliate month you've ever had, right? So you sold a site and you had a higher month, but just pure affiliate income. March was the highest month ever, I think.
Yeah, pretty much so. Yeah, like I say, I have sold a site before, which bumped up my income report that month, which looked really exciting. But yeah, just purely affiliate income. Then yeah, March was definitely the biggest one as well. Q1 as well, which was slightly unexpected, so it was amazing to have such a good month in a notoriously quiet kind of month. So yeah, really good.
And you talk about this stuff quite openly. It's quite rare to see you're basically an open book, and you talk about this on your YouTube channel a lot. We'll put the link for Carl's YouTube channel in the description, but kudos to you. Not many people are this open about what they're doing, how much they're making, the good points, but also all of the bad points, which I think you do a good job doing both.
Yeah, and I wanted, when I started doing YouTube, what I wanted to do was make sure that I basically just shared my story. So I never wanted to kind of become a guru or a teacher, and I was never going to do tutorials or anything like that. It was basically just me sharing my story. And what I was worried about is with YouTube, nobody kind of wants to say the wrong thing or nobody wants to trip up. And I just thought, you know what, then the best way to do that is just be open, just be honest. I pay my taxes, I've nothing to hide.
Yeah.
What's the point of not just saying this is what I do and, reveal everything really.
Yeah.
Sometimes to a detriment, so I don't reveal every site anymore. I did in the beginning, but then I had a couple sites copied. So I don't reveal every site now. But I even show my P&Ls, so I literally show everything.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I commend you for that. And also exciting times because you've just, I think it was was it December you quit your job? Your high-paying corporate job, which is really cool.
Pretty good, yeah. He was, high-paying in this industry, so, it was nerve-wracking, but also exciting. I was lucky enough that my boss was actually quite supportive, which I didn't think he would be in the beginning, because the job that I had, you work quite hard to kind of climb the corporate ladder, and you can kind of jump the rankings a little bit sometimes. So I'd really gone into this industry from externally, never been in it before. So it was in the supermarket trade, and I'd never worked in a supermarket, and I was kind of seen as an outsider coming in. And I quickly climbed the ranks to a supermarket trader, which is kind of like a large department manager for one of the bigger supermarkets. So I was quite lucky and fortunate to get that position. And then to say to everybody, I'm giving all this up to do YouTube and blogging, was just like, it didn't go down well with a lot of people. It's like, how can you, you just got one of the best jobs in this, supermarket, and you want to give it all up for that. So it was, crazy times really. But yeah, so far so good.
What did your friends and family think of this? Because even my wife, if people ask her what I do, she literally just says, he builds websites. Like, that's all she knows.
I still don't think my wife could explain it.
No.
In the beginning, just friends don't have a clue. You just don't even go there. You don't even mention it. The wife was just she just couldn't understand why I spent so much time sat at the computer. What am I doing? I think it only hit home when I sold the website, my first biggest website, and literally she walked in, and it was such an amazing transaction. It was just, it was done privately with a known buyer of websites, so it's kind of trusted. And literally it was, I woke up that morning and the deal was done, and I looked at my bank account and there was $26,000. And she kind of walked in the door and just said, I went, that website I've been building? She went, yeah, that website. And I went, there you go, I've just sold it. And I showed her the balance, and she was like, and I think from then she was like, okay, this looks all right.
Spend more time at the computer. Yeah, feel free to spend all day there now.
Yeah, tell me more. What's it all about? And then now she's very supportive. Even more so, my children are so supportive, especially with YouTube. But also with websites, they love it. They're always showing their friends what I'm building, and coming up with ideas. My youngest son's 13, and he's had so many ideas. Dad, we need to do this one on customizing BMXs, and also he's had some really good ideas. Really supportive now. But actually explaining what you do, even I don't know what to say. If you say affiliate marketer, people think you're kind of above yourself, and people in the industry kind of go, affiliate marketer, you're not an affiliate marketer. So that's hard to say. If I say YouTuber, I feel ridiculous, and my wife definitely laughs. If I say blogger, people think you're kind of like a mum blogger. You just write about kids in prams, and that's what a blogger is. That's what most people think they are. So I just go to, when my friends are, I say I build websites. That's, and then they go, really? And I go, and then I divulge a little bit more. I go, usually to make money from display ads. That's what I say. Because if you say affiliate links, they still haven't a clue.
I remember when we were getting married, we had to go to the registry office, and you have to have like almost a mini interview between like separately. And the lady asked me what I did for a living, and I said, well, I've got a content agency, and I run an affiliate portfolio of affiliate websites. I do X, Y, Z. And I was explaining to her what an affiliate website was and how it makes money. And then they asked Jess, and she just said, he makes websites. And the woman was pressing her, and she had to come in, and she said, your wife doesn't quite know what you do for a living, And I was like, well, yeah, she just thinks I make websites.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
The thing is, whenever you say to anybody you make websites, it's normally always followed up with, can you make me one? Or, oh, my friend does that. Right, okay, yeah. Or I built a website once. You get that, then you're into that rabbit hole of, okay, not quite what I do, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, no. Well, thanks for joining us today, Carl. I think one of the main topics I want to talk about today, and I want to probably delve into quite some depth, is your mega site project. I think it's an amazing project. It sounds really exciting, and I think in the next year or two, it's probably going to make you a fairly wealthy man. I hope, anyway. That's the dream, right?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So, kind of just where are we at the moment with the mega site? How did you come up with the idea? I know I've got the stats here of where we are, but just how did you come up with the idea? Why did you want to do this? Just give us a bit of background on this project first.
So I think the idea came from, I was just looking at websites in general and found one that I thought it looked amazing. And I looked at the numbers and it was getting some decent traffic, like 120, 150,000 page views. And then I looked and I noticed it wasn't monetized. And I just thought, that's crazy. Why? I just couldn't understand the purpose of building a website, getting that much traffic on it, and then not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought, okay, well, I'd sold a website recently, so I had a little bit of money in the bank. So I thought I'll reach out to them, see if they wanted to sell it. To be honest, I wouldn't have a clue of the value. They could have come back and said $1 million. I wouldn't have had a clue. I was hoping they'd say, give us $1,000 for it or something, you know what I mean? But, it probably wasn't ever going to happen. But I thought, you can try. And they were kind enough to reply back and just said, no, we're not selling it. Right. And I didn't really know why. But now, when I look back, I think what it was is I think they've built this website because they're a website developer. And I think it's kind of their Starship model. It's kind of their showcase model. This is what we can do. If you want a website building, pay us $30,000 or whatever, we'll build your website that looks like this. I think it's like that. So I realized they weren't going to sell it. So then I just thought, well, okay, fine enough. If you don't want to sell it, I'll build my own. So I started just putting the idea together of getting in that niche and building the website very similar to what they had. And then when I looked, I realized, oh my goodness, this niche is huge. And then I started to think, is it even possible? And that's when I started then kind of reaching out to people and saying, do you think a broad website works? Everybody says don't ever do it. You got to niche down. And then kind of, maybe, a little bit of confidence grew. And I thought, well, wait a minute, you know how to build a website. You know how to do keyword research. Is it any different on a bigger website? Is it just going to take longer? Is it just going to take more content, more money? And I just thought the process is the same, no matter kind of whether it's a niche website or a mega website. It's just the scale of it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And it's interesting because these big sites that cover multi-niche sites have almost fallen out of favor a little bit recently, like with the Gear Hungry update and stuff. I guess we'll come on to that a little bit further into the conversation, but I think it's important to probably build tons of relevance around each of your subtopics. So obviously it's going to be broken down into tons of subtopics, but just making sure that you're not thin across the board and you cover in depth lots of content around each one before moving on to the next ones would probably be key for you. Yeah. I mean, I always revert back to people say, what is kind of a mega website? And I always kind of give the analogy of sports, and it's not sports, by the way. So let's just say it's sports. So all your subtopics would be cricket, fishing, badminton, that sort of thing. So then each one of those subtopics is then supported with a lot of other content. So they would all point back to the main homepage, and then each main category, let's say fishing, for example, would all have supporting blog posts. So dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of blog posts all around that one niche. It's kind of like a mini niche website in a category. And pretty much all interlinked together, all linking back to that one main article. So the idea is that we get that one main, let's say it's a complete guide to fishing. That's what we're actually going. So if you type in the word fishing and it gets, 100,000 page views a month, then that's what we're actually targeting to try and rank. But also the supporting content is also going to rank as well and bring in probably significantly more overall than the actual main, title. But the actual main article we're going for then builds kind of relevancy within that category. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're 4 months into the project now. You're about 500,000 words published. I think you've got about another 3.5 million words left. It's a massive project. Yeah. So I think the project overall is about 9 months in the making. So from purchasing the domain, the first piece of content only went on about 4 months ago. And that was a debate, really. It was a debate of, do I drip feed the content on there? Do we, I did a poll on YouTube and I was like, I have 100 articles sat in draft. Do I hit publish today on 100 articles? Yeah. Or, do we drip feed it? And it was really interesting. And I love sharing, I
I love doing polls on YouTube. It's so easy to do them and get some feedback. And I
What did you do? What did you end up doing?
I put on as many as I could in one go. So I think I got about 75 within a week. It was just literally publish. They were all ready to go. So I think I put about 75 in the first week, and then I think I drip fed 5 or so out then every day thereafter until we'd caught up.
Yeah, that makes sense. People always ask us that question, clients, do I publish all in one go? Do I drip feed it? And our methodology was what you went for, to get it out there. Time is a ranking factor. Google takes time to index and find this content, so why not publish it as quickly as you can, basically?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the comments that came back was, no, Google likes to see consistently drip feeding contents out. And I was kind of saying to people, how many? And they was like, you should be doing 1 or 2 a day. And I was like, okay, well, what about these really big websites like CNN News? Do you think they publish 1 article a day? They're dropping hundreds of articles in a 48-hour period, So I don't think Google is going to penalize anybody for, okay, wait a minute, he's just published 50 articles on phishing today. Let's penalize him or something. So, I have that analogy. We, in this industry we're in, obviously we're very small players in a big pond, and we're thinking on terms of 1 or 2 articles a week, which is what most people are doing. I get it, but when you do step up to that next level, you kind of just got to think differently a little bit, and think, people think banging 50 articles on all in one go is very negative, but there are websites out there that do that daily. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And another question we get asked a lot, so as well as when to publish, how quickly, is like breakdown between commercial, informational, that type of stuff. So I know you've got about 250 posts now, and actually worked out roughly from what you've put on your YouTube channel, you're about 25% buyer's guides, like commercial, about 45% informational, and then 30% listicles, which I guess is, you could say it's informational, right? So you probably 70-30 split between commercial and informational.
Yeah, so I mean, listicles, I kind of do the analogy, like say, so it might be top 10 fishing locations in California. That would be a listicle, if anybody's wondering what that is. But yeah, I mean, information, listicles, blog content, you can call it, will increase. I mean, it will become the priority on there. So it will end up probably being 85-90% informational content. The buyer's guides on there, again, are really just to fulfill the actual structure. So that silo category, it's basically just to also have that other branch that goes off and says, okay, if this is a complete structure or silo on fishing, you would expect in there somewhere to mention fishing rods or reels or, So it's not like we're really going after, I'm not really wanting to rank top 10 fishing rods for beginners or something, I mean, it's not really that important to me. But if you have the traffic on the website and they are fisherwomen, then, why wouldn't you have a few of those articles that are on there that, automatically show up in the content? It's silly not to. It's not going to be focused on that. Certainly never going to be a focus. It's traffic is the focus. Ad revenue, traffic. And even in the sector that I'm in, even some courses are available. So, that was always a strong focus as well.
Okay, interesting. So I think there's a lot of our audience would probably love to do a project like this. So I've kind of broken down my next set of questions into 4 categories. So the first one is planning, because a site this size requires some crazy planning. Execution, where we'll talk about like your team and how you set up. A couple of other things which I think are interesting that you're doing, which I've literally no experience of, like web stories and Pinterest. And then just some expectations, because you've done this, you're several months in, and what are the expectations for the future? So within the planning, obviously niche selection for a site of this size was important because it needs to be very expansive. Do you have any like tips, or how did you approach coming across this niche? I know you said you found the site, but like just in general, how would you approach this if you hadn't found that site?
I mean, if it's normally with a smaller site, I don't worry too much because I can expand the categories and the structure as it grows a little bit. But I knew this one would grow quite rapidly, so I had to make sure that the structure was there in place first. I did speak to a few people, and especially people who are really, really knowledgeable about kind of silos or topical mesh or whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it.
Yeah.
And their advice straight away was plan it, plan it right, get the structure in place, because trust me, if you put 300-400 articles on there, it's going to be a nightmare to try and organize that 6 months into it. So you need to kind of have it set up so it's literally press publish, and it drops into the right place and it's done. The structure's there. So, like I say, the site is about nine months old. The domain's about 9 months old. And we spent at least 6 months of that really, really planning it. So building the structure right. So now it's built with Oxygen, which is really cool because it's set up with kind of blocks and automatic features on it. So now literally we just, if we want a block that links to somewhere else, we just literally click, done. It's on a page. It's on every page. If we want to link categories or anything like that, we simply can click a button and say, link this category to that category, and it does it. So a lot of planning was involved. And like I say, it's not something I would do with a normal website. I would just put a basic theme on, homepage, about us in the bottom, and literally crack on and just start building your categories out. But this was set out from day one with all the categories in there. So a lot of the categories we haven't covered yet. There's 420 odd subcategories. We've not covered them all. Obviously, we've probably covered 20%, something like that. But they're all set up and ready to go, so that as soon as we start, it goes in the right place.
Does that mean that you've got pages on the site ready for them, or it's only set up in the back end?
Yeah, so it's set up in the back end already. Yeah.
Cool.
So literally, all I will do to a writer, I will just say, okay, you are now on the topic. Again, I'll use sports analogy. You are now on the topic of cricket. And they will go, and each writer knows exactly where to go. They all work from like a spreadsheet. They'll all just go and just tackle that. And within a couple of weeks, we just go, okay, cricket is boxed off. It's done.
Right. That makes sense. Well, you kind of answered my next question was, did you plan this all at once, or is it an ongoing thing? But it sounds like it was definitely very front-loaded with planning, and you planned it all at once, I guess.
Yeah. I knew that the difficulty would be organising the writers and the content. I knew that would probably be harder than anything else. Just silly as it seems, just paying the writers, organising who's wrote what, when they've wrote it, who gets paid, just that side of it I knew would be really difficult. And in fact, I was on a podcast the other day, and I said to the presenter there, I knew I would become kind of a manager. I knew, so I couldn't be dealing with, I've got to set up a menu and I've got to link that menu. I couldn't be dealing with that. That had to be done up front. So so that's why we really took us time. I announced that I was going to do the mega website on YouTube, and I felt awful because it was months and months were going by and people going like, where is it? And I was like, I'm still setting it up. And they were like, surely you just throw a theme on it, add a couple of menus and off you go. And I was like, usually, but not with this one. This needs a lot more planning, so yeah.
What tools did you use? Any tools for planning, or was this just done in good old-fashioned spreadsheets?
Well, the content is in spreadsheets, so I've tried things like ClickUp and Asana and stuff like that, and it was so much more complicated using them. Actually, they're supposed to improve things. I'm sure they do, but I just found we've got a really good spreadsheet system where it's all color coded. All the writers have access to it. My VAs have access to it, and it's as simple as they've got freedom to go on that. When they choose a topic, they work within a subcategory. So, like I say, I will say to them, tackle cricket this week, and one of them will write the complete guide, which will be a monster post, 5,000-6,000 monster post, and then they will all start tackling. Some writers will do product guides, some will do the information, some will do the listicles. So they all know what they're doing, but they will basically all go to the tab of cricket and they will choose whatever they're assigned to do, turn it yellow, and then when they've done it, it goes to orange, kind of, to amber to let me know they've done it. I jump on, check it out, or the VAs do, I should say. I do very little on there. The VAs will go in there, do it all. Then when they're happy, I just sign it off. And I'm the one who literally presses publish. And then I go back to the spreadsheet and turn them all green. And we know to move on. And when that entire line on the spreadsheet is all green, we know that category is covered and move on.
It's a very satisfying feeling, I guess, seeing all those greens.
It is, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
pressing publish is always satisfying. I still don't know any better feeling than when you're really, really happy with it, you checked it out and you hit publish. It doesn't matter whether it's your first article or your 1,000, it doesn't matter. Hitting publish
Yeah.
is brilliant. I love that.
How did you approach the keyword selection for a site of this size? Did you just treat each silo as literally the same approach you would take for a small affiliate site, or did you have another approach for this?
No, pretty much the same. Like I said, choosing the actual subcategories was a given because I literally typed the keyword in there for the overall broad topic, and it just I think it was Wikipedia that just threw out and said, "There you go, there's your categories." I was like, "That's easy." Okay. A couple were duplicated. So if you had fishing, let's say you're going for fishing, it would have fishing, fly fishing, sea fishing, deep sea fishing.
Yeah.
So obviously you had to delete a few there. But yeah, so that side of it, picking the main sub keywords was pretty easy. And then it was a case of just treating it like any other website, going for low competition keywords in that topic. People say to me, a few comments. There's another gentleman on YouTube who's doing a very similar project, and his was a race to get 1,000 articles. That was his kind of case study. And everybody says, it's never going to work. You just throw in any content on there. You just try to publish as much content, a million words or 1,000 articles. But we're not. We're doing the same low competition keyword research within that topic. So there's just because it's larger in scale doesn't mean to say we've not put the same amount of effort in the keyword research. So there's no reason why they can't rank just like they would, any other niche really.
How do you think your mini silos are going to compare to a site that's specifically targeting an actual niche? So, for example, you've probably got like 20,000 words covering like maybe fishing, for example, as following that example, whereas you can build a fishing website that covers fly fishing, coarse fishing, carp fishing, and probably write hundreds of thousands of words just on the topic of fishing. Like, how do you foresee you competing with, your silo competing with a site that goes so much in depth like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good point. I do think a smaller niched website in fishing would do better. I think within the overall topic, I think they would maybe outrank us. They will maybe have a better authority within that sub niche. I still, I'm a big advocate of niche down websites really, really work. There's no question about that. But the thing is, with a website that's kind of this size, then it's kind of quantity. It's kind of the John Dychester's theory of put as much content as you can, and it all adds up. And in fact, I did a live stream recently where we was talking about this topic off the back of John's emails, his fantastic emails he sends out. And he was saying on the same on there that if you look at the majority of content that's doing well on ranking on your website, you'll only have maybe 10 articles that are doing really, really well, bringing in thousands of page views a month. And in fact, I have on my website, on one of my websites, my pet website, I've only about 15 that bring in over 2,000 each per month. The rest are all made up of kind of 200 and 300, views a month. So the idea is that adds up. If you've got 4,000 articles on a website and each one's bringing in 200 or 300 page views a month, do the maths. That is a huge site. So I'm not looking to rank number one for every one of these blog posts. They certainly won't. So, if we write 100 blog posts on fishing, they're not all going to rank number one, but if overall they bring in, let's say the sub-silo of fishing, has 100 articles, if that brings in 20, 30,000 page views a month, then that silo, that subcategory has worked. That's fine. Just rinse and repeat with all the other ones.
When you've got 400 silos each bringing in that kind of traffic, it's a large number.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This if my original video on this, where I think it's called Think Big, it's in my playlist. I set the whole kind of strategy out for it. I always said from day one, this is a 4-year project. You know what I mean? So I don't expect to publish 400 silos. We're talking years, but I wanted this to be a 4 or 5 year project. If at the end of 4 or 5 years, the site's worth, $400,000-$500,000, then I've achieved my target. But it's certainly a big project, but I don't want people kind of get scared off by it or anything. I haven't got all the money in the world. You know what I mean? I'm only investing what I'm making. So, people say to me, can anybody do this? Yeah, you just possibly have a longer time frame on it, but it's not all going to get done. Rome wasn't built in a day kind of thing. It's going to be a very long project with this.
Yes, 100%. So you built up you did all this forward planning, and I can definitely see why it would take so long now when you talk about each subcategory being like a mini site, and basically you've had to do keyword research for over 400 mini sites. Have you used any tools for that? Like, what do you go to keyword research tools at the moment?
I've been using Keyword Chef at the moment quite a lot. Friend of mine, Ben, who's developed it, I think it's a really good tool because it's kind of a tool made for bloggers. It simplifies it. And I talked about it. I did another video about this, that tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush, they are amazing. They can, if you know how to really dial into them, they can give you those little golden nuggets. But they're really expensive. But for me, that wasn't much the problem. It was they're so complicated to use. There's so many functions and features on there that I get lost in it. I spend all day trying to click the right things to give me that golden keyword. I just wanted something where I just typed in, fishing. Give me some ideas. Yeah. Because I'll be honest, with my site that, we want low competition keywords, we really do. But I think there will be a time where it gets to a certain size and a certain level where you can kind of make up your own keywords, if that makes sense. I read somewhere the other day that I think it's something like 65 or 70% of all searches in Google are brand new searches, never ever searched before. And who ranks for those? Well, it's the people who are writing the content that really kind of, the titles don't make sense. I was trying to think of some examples last night, I really can't off the top of my head, but, you can start writing, if you want to do fishing, example, and it's complete guide to fishing, you can really change up that title and put something really random in, and you might still rank for fishing because you've got that huge authority within fishing. That's sites like, like CNN News and The Spruce and stuff like that. That's where when you look at some of their articles, you think, how the heck is that article ranking with that title? But they do, because they have relevancy and a lot of authority. So I use Keyword Chef a lot, and I just use the alphabet soup method, good old-fashioned hunting around, looking at competition, looking at competitors, it's, might be frowned upon, but, you have to look at who's doing well in the industry because they are your examples, they're your competitors, that's who you're chasing. You'd be mad not to look at what they're ranking for,
Yes.
So,
I know we spoke a little bit about this off air, but we're having some issues where we're outranking for one of our clients a competitor, and they're not happy about the fact that we've essentially gone after a very similar set of keywords. There's nothing wrong with that. People do it every day. The content's unique. It's, I would argue, better quality content. But it's
the basis of our business. Let's be fair. If you're building a niche website in any topic, then you're going to be going after similar keywords to somebody else. There's no doubt about it. As long as you're not copying it like for like. I've had that happen to me. I've had 2 sites purely copied and pasted. I think Income School had it done to them, and I was speaking to Ricky when that happened. And they was really, really clever and caught them out. Did you hear about that example, what they did?
No.
So basically, every time they published a piece of content, and I hope I get this right, whenever they published a piece of content, somebody copied and pasted the article, put it on their website, and then backdated the date on it so it looked like they was the original.
Okay.
So they were really sneaky, but they copied it word for word, image for image. And it looked like they were literally just copying and pasting it without even checking or reading it. So Ricky inserted a line in the middle that says, in a big paragraph of text saying, this article has been copied from Income School. We have nicked it or something, we've stolen it.
Yeah.
And the guy just copied and pasted it onto the website. So obviously then they reported it to Google, and Google saw that this belongs to income skill and knew what he were doing. Yeah, really clever of income skill to do that. I never thought of that, but my websites that were copied were just literally, I just reported them, and I never really heard anything. They just got taken down. So
yeah.
Yeah,
there's lots of like scraper sites and stuff that do that, right? I see it in backlink profiles all the time where content's being copy and pasted. It looks like it's been auto scraped. There's no formatting. It's these sites are horrible, and I don't really know what they get out of it. Like,
you can usually tell when it's block paragraphs. So if you see block paragraphs, so you might look at a 2,000 word article and it might only have 4 paragraphs in. That's usually been done like in that method. Yeah, if it's nicely spaced out and formatting is the giveaway. If somebody's spent a lot of time formatting and putting the right H2 and H3 headers on it, you usually know it's pretty good. But it's a giveaway when I see that block content. Usually I'm like, ooh, okay.
Makes sense. So you use keyword chef. You do a bit of elbow work with the alphabet soup method and stuff. Do you use any clustering tools then to cluster them together? I know they're quite a hot topic right now.
I was on a live stream. I think it was Adrian over at Hasta La Vista Boss did a live stream. I think it was is it Cupid? What's it called?
Keyword Cupid.
Keyword Cupid. That's it.
Yeah.
And I looked at that, and I was right at the midst then of building it, and I did look at it. And I did a bit of playing around with it. But I don't think I had enough kind of content and keyword structure to put in there for it to be relevant. So maybe it's something I will look into now. But fingers crossed, I think it's laid out now in a way that I should be okay anyway. You just got to make sure that your interlinking now is still good and relevant. So it's a question. I mean, I'm no expert in silos. Trust me. You know what I mean? I'm still learning every day. I got a lot of advice from somebody who is really good within the industry, who has his own tool and product around kind of clustering. And I got some advice from him right at the very start. So I hope that I think I figured out how it should be. And it shouldn't be more complicated than what it is. People think this is a big mystery. It's literally just, it's a category. It's all we're doing is creating lots of categories that are nicely linked and relevant. That's all we're doing. It's no genius thing I've come up with, So I think the relevancy is just keeping it all as tightly packed into that one silo as possible. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we use keyword cupids to group together, essentially to cluster together keywords where typically they're very low search volume. They may not warrant a page on their own, but we can group them together with others. So it works really well for that kind of stuff. But if you're going after stuff with a little bit higher search volume, it's clear it needs its own page, you can do this stuff manually. Right? You can use a bit of brain power and figure it out. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, if the site gets to the point where it's even larger, probably we'll have to use some sort of tool then maybe, because there will be some articles that overlap. I'm getting it at the moment where I do look at it and I think, do you know what, that could actually fit into that silo structure. And will Google see that? And then, oh my goodness, will it link that silo structure to that one when I don't want them? So there is that. But listen, all we can do is just do your very best. And that's all you can do, and hope you keep it. I just want to keep it sensible. I think that's simple but sensible. Even though it's a huge site, or it will be, it doesn't need to be complicated. You just keep it simple. If it's relevant for that silo, it goes in that silo. If it's relevant to link to that post, then it links to that post. So that's all I'm trying to do. It's a large site, but still keep it simple. Really, don't overcomplicate it. It's not. No. Whenever you mention to somebody silo, it's like, oh my God, tell us your formula and stuff. And it's like, it's simple. Just treat it as kind of like a mini website. Just look at it as a mini category. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, agreed. So that's the planning section covered then. So appreciate you sharing kind of how you plan this out. The next part I want to talk about is the execution, because you mentioned, the planning did take a long time, but the part you were most worried about was actually the execution style. So let's start with the big one, content creation. Like, how have you structured that? Is your own team? Are you outsourcing?
Yeah.
Like, how is that working?
So luckily, like I said, I've been doing this now, going on for 4 years now, I think 3.5 years, close to 4. So I'd built up a team slowly over a period of, like say, 3 years. people always say,
Yeah.
how do you, I always say, people say, how do you find really good writers? And I just say, you got to kiss a lot of frogs. You just simply have. You've just got to try as many as you can. And I must have tried 50 writers, to dwindle that down to 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have had some really good writers in the past, and you lose them for some reason.
Yeah.
I've had some writers that have just left because they've got full-time jobs, or some writers that have had children, can't spend the time doing it. Some inconsiderate writers that got married and things like that. I mean, how inconsiderate is that?
How dare they?
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, you get good writers and you lose them, and then you try and find more. I have a lot of writers, people that reach out to me now. So, the income school thing was great. That got me kind of known, and I got instantly a lot of emails. Do you want me to write for you? And I still get probably 1 email a day from a writer. And I do test a lot of them. I've just hired a new writer called Joey. And he just reached out to me and said, give me a shot. And I was like, okay, there's 3 articles, write them. I will pay you, don't worry. Even if they're rubbish, I'll pay you, and let's see how you do. Yeah. And they came back and they were fantastic. It's like, do you have any work? I was like, I will just add you to the team and you work your way through the spreadsheet.
Are these all native English speakers, Carl, or where are they based in the world?
They're widespread, to be honest, but they are, pretty much native speaking, English speaking writers, but they are widespread. I've got, so I've got a couple in the UK. I've got one in Canada. I think a couple in the US, and I think I've got one in the Philippines. I don't exactly know where she lives, but I think she is a native English speaker. I think maybe she's moved there. So, but I have tried other. The difficulty with getting writers that are like non-English speaking writers, they may write really good and interesting content. It's just what they struggle to do is get the kind of the grammar and the spelling correct for the country that you're targeting. So, I have 3 VAs overall across like my portfolios, and that's the number one thing they're correcting all the time is the grammar. So things like, in the US, in the UK, we'll say tap, need to run the tap for 10 minutes, and it's a faucet in America. Yeah. So things like that, I say rubbish all the time, and they'll say it's garbage. All right, okay. Take the rubbish out. No, take the trash out. So, and spelling. So colour is the one that gets me all the time, because obviously colour is mentioned all the time, and one has a U in it and one doesn't. So it's things like that. So they may be able to write really interesting, on point, SEO focused content, but the grammar and the spelling doesn't meet the targeted country. So that's the biggest problem we have. Not actually finding the writers, not actually getting good content from them. It's that.
So I'm assuming when you just onboarded Joey now, how do you go about training them, bringing them up to speed with your current process? Because obviously, if you've got a team, you've got a specific way of doing things. How are you handling that coaching and teaching aspect?
Well, definitely doing it the wrong way. So I have learned so much on kind of managing a team. I've always been a manager in my day job. I've always been a manager or assistant manager or something like that, right from the age of about 19. So I've always had that hands-on management skills, but the person's always been in front of me, So now they're on the end of an email or on the camera. So that's more difficult. So I've had to learn, and I basically just did it manually, which was an absolute pain. So every time I got a writer involved, just telling them how we work from this spreadsheet and where the article should go. I have 3 kind of main places on the website to put the content. So post, product guides, etc. And just getting them to post the article in the right thing it was a nightmare. So I've learned a lot. I wish I'd have done kind of training video. I wish I'd have done maybe, 5 videos on a little playlist that is, private only to them, that I can say, okay, you're going to write for us, watch these videos, and just done a 5-minute video on, here's the spreadsheet. This is what we do. This is what color you make it. This is what color you make it when it's done. And that would have been so much easier, because every writer, because obviously I've tested quite a few more, but just to test a new writer has been a 2-week process of emailing backwards and forwards, right? write this article, put it in there, then email him back, no, you've put it in the wrong place, and you haven't added a H2 heading, and you haven't done, you know. So yeah, that was, I wish I'd have learned and done some kind of training video. That would have been so much easier.
Yeah, no, 100%, especially if you're scaling up. There's some great programs out there as well, which you can use to organize your training material. Training Full is a really good one. It just allows you to, create a board about content creation and break it down into mini tasks. So you click on the first one, this is what you do first, click on the next one. Like that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's kind of some plugins on WordPress that you can use to build courses. So that would possibly be something that I'd do next time, is install that and actually build kind of a mini course just for writers, So, hi, welcome, I'm Carl. This is the website we're working on. The first thing you should do is, and just kind of do an inbuilt training course, but for my writers,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it'd be so much easier. Lesson learned. Next time, that'll happen.
Next mega site project.
Yeah, I don't think there will. Who knows? Never say never, but yeah, this one's going to have my attention for a number of years for sure.
So creating that amount of content, you've got the content team. I mean, you kind of mentioned there the struggles of finding good writers, but once you found them, you bring them on board, and it sounds like they tend to stay with you for a long time. I guess the next problem to solve or bottleneck is uploading. Like, you've got all this content. How do you get it on the site so quick? And I'm assuming that's another team. Do you outsource any of that? Are they
so the writers have direct access to WordPress, so they go straight in the back end and they can publish. They don't publish it, they upload it into Draft. And then what they'll do is they'll go back to a spreadsheet. So basically the process is the spreadsheet's there. I've done the keyword research, which I do per topic, per category. So like, say, as an analogy, let's say we're doing fishing. So I will create all the keywords in that. So it might be 70 keywords, 70 articles. And then I will inform them all, hi, starting the 1st of June, we're tackling fishing. And then each person knows to go in there and they will select the article that they want. They will turn it yellow and then they'll start writing. And then they will put it on the website into Draft. When that's done, they turn it orange on the spreadsheet. So then my VAs can check in there every day and then they see, it's gone orange, okay? They go in and they do all the formatting, adding internal links, external links, images, etc. And then when that's done, they will let me know, hi, Carl, a load of content on there is ready. I will check it off. And when I'm happy, press publish. I then go on the spreadsheet, turn it green. When that entire category is green, we know to move on. So they've all very, very good at putting the content directly onto the website, and they're pretty good at formatting it. I think that's still the biggest issue. I'm very finicky about, I like space where the header is underneath it, and I like each image to, have a description showing, and, so I'm very picky with stuff like that. But my VAs are as well, particularly one of them. She's amazing. She's like so detailed. She's like, you just press publish on that and it hasn't got a 20 pixel space in between. Like, oh God. So it's fantastic to do that. That level of detail is great. It's what you pay them for at the end of the day. But yeah, the content's uploaded on there and it's pretty automated. We've now got a really good rhythm. Like I said, the hardest thing is proofreading them all and checking. They do get, like I said, the VAs are hired to proofread them, format them correctly, so that is still the biggest bulk of the work, because no matter how well you train a writer, they just literally want to put that content on there and get off and write something else. That's how they make their living. So they're not bothered about spacing and
Do you just build that cost into what you pay them per word then? Well, I guess that's one question, but are these people on salaries? Like, are they working full time for you, or are you paying them still on a per word or per article basis? How does that work?
So the writers are paid per word, so it's 3 cents a word. All my writers are on the same level. I've tried cheaper writers, I've tried more expensive writers. I ordered 2 articles yesterday, outsourced them to a content company, and I chose their highest level writers. So we're talking 11 or 12 cents a word. Ridiculous, something like $160 for a very short article. And I just wanted to test them, and it was no better than my 3 cents writers. So
Oh.
you get a very good level of writer for 3 cents. I think it's a fair price to pay. Some of my writers are, publishing 2 or 3 articles a day. So that's like $100, maybe more per day that they're earning. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're happy to work 4 or 5 days a week. It's a full-time living for them. So
Yeah.
I think it's a fair price to pay, and I think the quality we get is really good. So, but they're self-employed, so they just invoice me. So we assign everything on a Monday. If it's a big topic we're covering, then we do like a 2-week period. So if we're covering fishing, then that might be
Yeah.
a 2-week period. So they write everything they can. When it's all done, they all invoice me the second Monday. So it'll be 14
Yeah.
days later, I get the invoice for their work, and then I pay them either PayPal or direct bank transfer, depending where they live.
Yeah.
And then we move on to the next category. The VAs are paid a set fee. It's kind of, this is what I expect from you each week, and what I
Yeah.
expect from you warrants this amount of money. Some get paid more, some get paid less. So
Yeah.
there's 3 VAs on there.
That makes sense. I think that's a good way to structure it. So the content he uploads, the VAs then format it. I'm assuming at this kind of scale, you must have everything templated, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Like you've got your 3 core types of articles. I'm assuming each 3 are templated pretty well.
The listicles are pretty much a set formula. There's no kind of template for it, but it's literally, this is how I expect it to look.
Yeah.
The product reviews are pretty much, they are more or less templated. It's pretty much the product at the top as soon as they land on it. Because if somebody's typed the 10 best fishing rods, they want to see 10 best fishing rods. So they see the product first, and then it's a load of helpful information. After that, they are still a good 2,000 or 3,000 word long. So they are pretty decent product reviews, and they are formatted and templated. The only ones that are not is kind of just the supporting blogs. So the supporting blogs, again, say around fishing, they are just random, because you can't do a template for that, because each kind of blog may be different. Some might have bullet points, some might have tables, some might just be 800 words. So there's no format for them. They're just totally at will. Just write it, put it on there, and let's have a look. Sometimes the VAs will add bullet points where the writers haven't. They will split a paragraph off into bullet points. Sometimes it's just perfectly fine just to hit publish on pretty much straight away.
That makes sense. Okay. The other part I want to touch on is to do with execution, is publishing this amount of content. Like we talked about publishing all at once or like drip feeding out, but I'm assuming you must have to be doing something fancy-ish at least, or at least best practices in terms of site structure. A brand new website, crawl budget with Google is probably quite low. Like all this content going out, you need to get it indexed quick. Are you doing anything, or what are you doing, I guess, is the question, to make sure that Google comes and it crawls the site in the most efficient way? Everything's picked up quickly, I guess.
Yeah, I think the thing we're doing is not trying to cover this broad niche all in one go. So we're not going after 423 subcategories all in one go. I think we're focusing on one subcategory before we move on to the next one. So if we're doing, like say, fishing, then we'll make sure that category is finished. It's all interlinked. It's all within that correct silo structure kind of thing. So Google only really needs them to come and crawl 1 or 2 of those articles, and hopefully the interlinking is so good that it will then start to rank. And you can see it. I can see. I use Search Robot to track some of the keywords, and you can see as soon as one of them pops into there, that I know usually within a day or 2 later, here come the rest, and then they all start popping up and appearing. So it is going to be, there's still, at the minute, like say, 250, 300 articles, whatever it is on there, there is still only around, I think it's about 40 or 50 in the top 100. Now, it's not, it scares me to death when you look at that, because you see, 40 out of 300. But you've got to remember that's in the top 100. So Search Robot does the top 100. So all of them may be indexed, or should be, but they might be out of the top 100. So they might be position 300, something like that. So it is a tool that I love, but I've got to stop looking at it because it panics you to death. You got 4 months in, there's only 40 out of 300, but then you got to remember, in the top 100. Okay. So I keep track of it like that, but just interlinking it and hoping that once Google picks up on one of those blog posts or related posts, it should interlink it back and start crawling it. I used to, with other sites, we've all done it, try and force index each page, and and then Google obviously switched that functionality off, didn't they, for some time. And then when it came back on, everybody hit it with trying to force index them, and I don't bother now. I don't. I just leave it, and it texts as long as it texts. If, for instance, a particular subcategory wasn't indexing, it's not something I've done now, then I may throw some backlinks at it in the future to try and say, okay, you haven't found the page on my site, but here it is. It's linked on this site, and hopefully then it'll track it back from there. But it's not something I'm doing at the minute. It's not something I intend to do. Certainly not for the next year. I mean, I'm not going to worry or even touch it for a year. Just give it some natural time. The whole Google sandbox thing. Again, I did another poll on YouTube the other day, and I said, does the Google sandbox, number 1, exist? Number 2, take 5 to 6 months. Number 3, take 6 to 9 months. Or number 4, take longer. And I think it's up to about 70% of the minute have all ticked longer. And that's had nearly 400 votes on it. So, people's opinion vary, but, I'm certainly not going to even worry about it for a year. After 12 months, if I look at my cert robot then and, we haven't got a heck of a lot more than 40 in the top 100, then I'm panicked. Yeah, then I'm panicked.
How are you handling like menu structure and things like that with so many subcategories? How's the menu working? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so without giving the niche away, there are a couple of menu structures you can do. So let's say, for instance, outdoors, indoors.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of any analogies without giving it away, but it could be like that. So I think like if you give the analogy of sport, you could maybe say water sports, grass sport, like grass, so it's football, cricket. So there are a few menu structures like that on there. So when you land on the actual home page, you see about 9 different boxes, and each one will have the actual very broad niche in there. And then you click that and you go to the main guide.
So is that set up like on the back end as categories? So you've got an overarching category of grass sport, and then you've got subcategories of football, cricket, and then you've got sub posts which sit in those categories.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and it's with Oxygen, it's all built to the point where it's all kind of automatically does that. So it automatically links them to the right category. When you put a tag on it, so we put a tag on it, and as soon as it sees that tag, it knows that it's within that category.
Okay, and then like the homepage would link out to the overarching like grass sport category, and then that page would then link out to all of the sports within the grass sports.
If you look at the homepage, and then let's say you've got 9 of those bigger categories, they then link to the main, so 423 sub niches, and then all your relevant content below that for each niche.
That makes sense. Are you using custom category pages for those? Are you still relying on like standard WordPress, whatever the theme category page is?
It's just standard WordPress using Oxygen. Yeah. There's nothing. There's no theme on there. It's just WordPress and Oxygen.
Nice. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I love to hear about these different ways of doing things.
Adam, I am the most least technical person in the world. You'll figure that out when you watch any of my videos. I rely on people, rely on friends. Phil over at spiderweb.co.uk, being a wealth of support and information. But I am no expert by no means. Like I said, when I thought about doing silo structures, well, actually, I didn't think about doing them. It was a conversation I had about a website that I sold, and I said to this gentleman, I'm thinking about doing this, and he said, how are your categories, are your silos? Just the same questions you've just asked me. And how are you going to interlink them, and how are you going to silo them? And I kind of just went, I don't know. And he just goes, we need to think about it. And I was like, how would you recommend I do it? And he just said, do it like this. And, and I will seek advice from everybody. I may have got it wrong. We don't know. Time will tell. It could be, it could be like, oh my God, Adam, this is, I got it totally wrong. Who knows? But I think you just got to go on advice and do the best you can, So, and would I do this kind of format and structure on a smaller mini website, niche website? No, I wouldn't. I'd just say, just do the usual, put a clean theme on there, simple menu structure, off you go, So, I'm no expert on it, but fingers crossed. I think with the help and advice that I've got from everybody and looking at other websites, looking at how other big websites do this. I mean, I've been doing some research last couple of days and I've found some websites that are just crazily broad. And I mean, you're talking, it's got gardening and then it's got chiropody and then it's got hair care and then it's got pet in the menu structure. And it's had like 10 different broad niches in the menu structure. And I thought, how is this even working? And then you look at the data and it's getting 3 million page views a month. And it's like,
crazy.
It's working, it works. So however they have set that up and structured it is fascinating because they are doing it in such a clear way that Google is seeing, okay, so you've got health and beauty here and you've got sports here. But I can clearly see how they fall into their own categories, And it still works, even though it's on one overall domain.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. This question, I think, is an interesting one because from our client base, we have people who want to be totally hands-on and involved in everything, and then we have people who literally don't want to be hands-on at all. How hands-on are you in this project, and do you think it's possible to execute a project like this, or even on a smaller scale, but be almost totally hands-off aside from the planning and just managing, light touch management point?
I think financially, if you could afford it, you could totally hands off it without a doubt.
Yeah.
I could leave it now to, if let's say I go away for 2 weeks, I know it will still run, content will still get published. I would just have to give that permission for the VAs to say, I'd say, listen, when you're happy with it, I trust you, just hit publish. Don't worry about it. I mean, I do at the minute, I keep saying to them, just are you happy with it? Yeah, their English and their, grammar and stuff is far better than mine. That's why I hired them. It's like, what am I checking for here? What do you want me to have a look? You've got internal links.
Take yourself out of the loop, Carl.
It's what, sorry?
Take yourself out of the loop.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, just hit publish, and so I'm still in the process where I have to hit that publish. And I think it's just because of the responsibility. They're like, I don't want to, because they know this kind of silo structures and subcategories and stuff, that they don't want to interlink anything that's wrong. So I think they're just a bit worried about that. And I'm like, if you make a mistake, we can fix it. Don't worry. So I would like to be more hands off with it, but at this stage it's too early. I mean, if it's earning 10,000 a month or something, I will pay them more and say I'm really coming out of the loop with this. I want to move on. I want. I've got more projects on, got more things in the pipeline. It's time, isn't it? You're only limited. So since we doing this full time, I promised myself I would only work like 8:30 till 5:30. But how's
that going?
Talking earlier, 10 o'clock last night I finished. And my wife's like, I thought you was just going to do 8:30 till 5:30. It's like, I know. Because I see it as a business that the more effort you put in, the more times I hit publish, the more times I assign jobs out, the more times I do this, the more money I earn. It is as simple as that. When you hit publish, it's kind of like money in the bank, isn't it? If you said to somebody, you press publish on the article and it's going to earn you $100 in the next 12 months, it's like going to the bank with $100. And if I said to you, right, Adam, every time I give you $100, you got to run to the bank and put it in. You would do, wouldn't you? So it's like, I just want to hit publish. But like I say, you have to take your time. You have to get it right. So it's not. I'm not throwing any rubbish on there. It is all as good as it can be. But I'm always eager to stay here and keep pressing publish and getting the work done.
Talking about working late is quite interesting. Quite funny story that so my wife runs a cake business at the moment. Right. She bakes cupcakes and brownies, and we were chatting on the weekend. I said, why? She loves doing it, but she's very busy doing it, and she's a bit stressed out sometimes when she's got so many orders. I'm like, well, why are you doing it for? If it stresses you out, just take a step back.
Yeah.
She said, well, I only started this because, you were working late every night on the computer, on the laptop, in front of the TV. And, I was just watching the TV on my own. So I thought I was going to start this. And it made me like reflect. I was thinking, yeah, that's actually probably true. Like, even though we're, self-employed and living the dream of, being web publishers and stuff, I probably work twice as many hours as I did when I worked a full-time job. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I absolutely get it. Time management now is one of the biggest focuses for me. I've had a few people on YouTube say, can you do some like kind of day in your life in, how you manage things, how you do it, I mean, I have, my portfolios, I've got 10 websites, and 7 writers, 3 VAs, 10 websites. I know a lady that has, I think it's 43 websites, and she has 60 writers. You will know her. She's in one of the groups that we're both in together. And, she's earning about $80,000 a month. And I think, how do you manage 60 writers and 43 websites? And she just says, yeah, it's quite easy. I only work like 8 till 5 on a night and have weekends off. And she's got it so right. I'm dying to pick her brains and just go like, tell me your secrets. How do you do that? I mean, I don't think I ever want to get 43 websites, but, no. I'll take the 80,000 a month she's earning for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it is. You got managing your time is so important. It's that burnout, isn't it? It's trying to avoid that burnout. And I think I've been forced into it at the minute because, again, my wife's just opened her own business last week, and it means she's going out of the house every day now. So I now have to, look after the kids. I've got to look after the kids now. I've got to cook tea. In fact, I don't know if you saw my first live stream. It was a bit of a panic after I'd been on the live stream. The only time I could get on was about 3 o'clock live stream. I thought I'll do an hour and then the children will be home and I can sort tea out. And it got to like 4:30 and I was still on the live stream and kids were appearing. And I was like, they're like, is tea ready? Is tea ready? And I'm like, oh, I've got to cook tea. I was like, all right, so, I now have to plan in my day that, in the school holidays, I have to break off at dinner time because they're going to want feeding. And I have to kind of get finished and wrapped up now for about 4 o'clock because, got to make tea and do the household duties, the washing and stuff. So, I think time management for me now is going to become more and more important.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Mark are going through the same thing with our business. Obviously, we've got a fairly large team, and we're going to be trying something soon where we both pretend to take a week off and just see how the business runs without us. We've been putting lots of systems and processes in place, but you don't truly realize, what will happen until you both literally just say, right, well, I'm going to step back for a week.
Yeah.
Treat as if we're on holidays. We'll still be there, but treat us as if we're on holidays. We're in the jungle. We don't have our phone. Like, figure it out.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, I trust my writers. I haven't changed anything. I don't think I've sent an article back in forever. Because they've been writing for me for 3 years now. So I don't have any worries like that, and my VAs know exactly what they're doing. So I think I am at the point where I can take the time off. I'm still at that point where this is now a full-time living, so I have to get a certain amount of income coming in. And I didn't quit my job until I was really above my income threshold. I knew I had a safety net. I knew I had a bit of a buffer. But I'm always worried. You're always pushing to get that little bit, I've had a pretty substantial month in March, and now I'm thinking I just need to get over that, that mark. So you're always thinking about that, pushing that extra mile. But yeah, I definitely need to take time out. I mean, we've been in lockdown now for so long. You probably know I'm a keen golfer, and your golf course has been shut. Wales is one of my number one destinations. We go there twice a year. We play some courses there. And, I've said to myself this next few weeks, I am taking time off, So once the reason that I asked you to do this call so early is because, I have a tea time booked for 5 o'clock. So I am going out and playing. Yeah. And I think you have to reward yourself. I've not spent anything on myself. I said that to the wife the other day. I said, I might get some new golf clubs. She's like, you spend it on golf clubs? Like, wait, I spent 3 years building this portfolio up. I think I can now treat myself to some £400 golf clubs, it's time management and also that quality of life. Because like you say, I got into this not to be stressed, not to be worried, to have time off. And to a degree I can do it. Don't get me wrong. Not mourning or anything. I can, if I go, do you know what, tomorrow I just don't want to do. I can do that.
Yeah.
And my income won't change, so, you definitely have to take that time out for yourself, for your mental health. And because we all still stress. I like I say, I think I stress now more than I did in my other job, because I knew I had paycheck landing, I knew money would land in my bank every month. But now I don't have that luxury. It comes in from all over the place. And, that's been a learning curve, definitely. I've been self-employed before, so I knew all about accountancy and stuff. I knew it would be a bit of an issue. I didn't actually realise how much of an issue it would be. You've got income coming in dollars, Canadian dollars, pounds, convert, some it's PayPal, some it's your bank. So that side of it has been a lot more stressful than I thought, organising that,
Oh, we could probably talk for another hour, Carl, on setting up like financial
accountancy.
So we are coming up on an hour here, and there were a couple of things I wanted to cover off just before we kind of wrap up. But I think we'd probably run a little bit over time. So I guess the one thing I want to just finish off is just expectations for this mega site. We've kind of covered it from start to finish now. What do you think the future is for the site? I saw that in your recent update, you kind of looked back on like your original video and stuff, and things look like they're still on track. But where do you hope this will be in another 6, 12, 18 months' time?
Yeah, I think when I look back on that original video, some of the expectations on there was pretty much spot on. I mean, there wasn't over realistic. I think it was the early days. So I think I expected by month 6 to 9 to be earning maybe $500. To earn that sort of money in this niche, then it's probably going to need 10,000 page views a month, something like that. So, and I think at month 6 to 9, it might still be in the sandbox. So you might not be getting out of anything then. So I think the early expectations was probably too adventurous. But I think some of the latter ones, certainly year 3 and 4, where I put a site value of like 300,000 on it, something like that, I think that's definitely doable. I mean, I have sites that I've put nowhere near as much effort into the setup and functionality of it as I have with this one, and they're like $100,000 sites. So already, I don't think my expectation for 4 years selling it and flipping it or whatever was wrong. I think they're going to be. I'm going to hit those targets. I think the expectation of putting the content on there, kind of 1 million words per year. That's definitely been realised. I don't think I sort of set those goals too high. I think it's just
you're ahead of schedule, if anything.
I think it's traffic and earnings in the first year. So if anybody looks at that video and sees that, they might go, that's totally crazy. I think I put at end of year 1, I'd be making a couple of grand or something like that. So I think that might be unrealistic. But you got to remember as well, 9 months ago, it was a lot easier to get content out of the sandbox, get content moving. It was easier to get traffic. It certainly got harder the last 9 months. So I think if I could go back, I'd revise. I think it was like a 4-year spreadsheet kind of thing. I think I would revise year 1. I think I'd redo that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You almost just shift everything over to the right 6 to 9 months, basically. Kind of the sandbox, and then from another 6 to 9 months, you're probably spot on, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier. I kind of now tell people, and people say to me, when will I make my first $1,000, or when will I get my first 10,000 page views? And I just say to people now, just forget about year 1. Just literally don't worry about it. Don't, give it 12 months and then start assessing from there, because from 0 to 12 months now, it's so sporadic. You have websites that do incredibly well. You have websites that, that don't. I know Chris from Niche Safari, I know he did 2 case studies where he had 2 websites and he was trying to rank them to $1,000 each, see which one could get there the quickest. And one of them, in like 12 months now, has not got a single view. It's got like 80 articles on there, and he just will not rank for anything, no matter what he does. So that can always happen. So I think for the first 12 months, you can't judge anything really. You just got to sit back and just keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I often look at the analytics and I think, I'm going to slow down the publishing on this mega website. It's not looking great. And then you just think, no, stick with it. You just stick with it. Have the confidence in what you're doing and just keep going. Certainly for 12 months, and then I'll reassess it for sure. I mean, if you get to 12 months and we've got no traffic, I might be on one of your other podcasts saying, "Oh my God, Adam, that was a right failure." Today
we're going to speak to Carl about his mega website fail.
I can see the thumbnail now. Look at you, failure.
I'm sure that's not going to happen.
It'll make a good video if it does, anyway.
Cool. Well, no, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today, Carl. You've been a great guest, and I really appreciate you sharing everything. I think there's been some really good insights for people. Some thoughts for them to go away and think about if they wanted to start either a mega project or even a smaller project. So yeah, we really appreciate you sharing that.
No, that's great. Thanks. Appreciate it.
With obviously you've got your YouTube channel, which we'll link to in the show notes. But is there anywhere else that people can reach out and get in touch with you?
Yeah, Discord. So I do have a Discord group. The link is in most of my YouTube videos, or you can just go to carlbroadbent.com. Everything's on there. I am doing a website giveaway. So I'm currently doing a project where it's a case study. I'm building a website in a crazy niche. I did a poll and said, right, I'm going to build a website. I'm going to build it for a year and I'm going to give it away. It could be worth $10,000. Who knows? I'm going to give it away. And I said, pick a niche. And I did 4 sensible niches. Then I did a wild niche of lifestyle hacks. So literally just, 10 ways to clean a bathroom without any chemicals, just lifestyle hacks.
Yeah.
And I thought nobody's going to choose that, I think, because, and sure enough, something like 90% of the votes chose that one. And everybody was like, I want to push you, see what you can do. So I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. Don't forget you're going to win this website. So you do want it to be a success, don't you? So I'm building that website out. We're about 3 or 4 months into that now, and I'm going to give that away. And again, that is over on carlbroadbent.com. It's free to enter. You don't have to do anything. Just follow along on the journey. And whatever that website is in a year, somebody said to me, what if it's worth $10,000? I was like, I'll give it away. It's going to get given away. It could be worth $100, so don't get your hopes up. But whatever it is...
Are you accepting bribes, Carl? Do you know, if I put
I may do. I do drink a lot of tea, so, send some Yorkshire tea bags my way. You're in. So, yeah, carlbroadbent.com. Head over there. Is the little icon in the menu says giveaway. It's free to enter. People can go over there, have a go. They just need to sign up to my newsletter, basically so I can pick a winner. I couldn't think of a way of picking a winner. So I was like, if you sign up to my newsletter, I can do a random generator that can pick your name out. So they don't have to do anything. And you get updated. It's interesting. Some of the articles in Lifestyle Hacks are ranking. It's all right. It's 4 months in and it's getting a little bit of traffic. But it looks cool. The website looks really, really good. If you do want to check it out, like I say, head over to carlbroadbent.com and join it and have a look. The domain's there. I revealed it in my first live stream. So everybody now knows what it is. They can head over and see it and take a look at it. It's a pretty cool
Well, don't tell anyone here now, and it's an excuse for them to go over and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, it's free to enter. Just have a go.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's great. Carl, really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time. And good luck with the mega site. And I'm sure we'll have you back on in another 12 months to give us an update on where you're at then.
Yeah, sure, Adam. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's been lovely chatting with you. It's been great.
Thanks, Carl. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're listening to the podcast version of this episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Please rate and review, as this will allow us to grow our audience and create more shows like this one. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to be the first to know about any new episodes that we release. Until the next episode, goodbye.